This is the evening news with Kevin Robinson Jr. According to Kevin Robinson Jr., this is the second edition of this. This is California scheming, liberal toxicity. So we're going to talk about, I broke this down into two different segments of why liberalism, hyper liberalism, has destroyed my home state of California. All right. We're going to get a sip of this green tea. We're going to get right into it. It's good shit. So I broke this down into two different things that have caused California, which has the sixth highest GDP in the world. Literally, we could be our own country. We could totally secede from the rest of the country and be straight. But there's two things that are happening in California that is destroying my state and why California has become Mad Max. All right? So, if you haven't done so already, like, share, comment, subscribe. Thank you for tapping in. And we're going to get right into it right now. All right. So, from my favorite paper to read, and I read this quite a bit. This is the New York Times. Okay. All right. So this is an opinion piece written by Ezra Klein. The way Los Angeles is trying to solve homelessness is absolutely insane. Now, this is very typical of California. If you've never been here, you see this brother's name is Jeremiah Dean. He's at an encampment in Venice Dale community here in Los Angeles. You see the palm trees and the shit in the back. They have turned paradise into Mad Max, man. But we're going to get into it. So let's get into it. In 2016, the people of Los Angeles overwhelmingly passed Proposition Triple H, a ballot measure that raised $1.2 billion through a higher property tax to create 10,000 new apartments for the homeless. Quote, the voters of Los Angeles have radically reshaped our future, Mayor Eric Garcetti said, giving us a mandate to end street homelessness over the next decade. All right. Now, that was 6 years ago. 6 years later, neither the mandate nor the money has proved to be nearly enough. In 2016, LA had about 28,000 homeless residents, of whom around 21,000 were unsheltered, that is, living on the street. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I live here in LA. I live right downtown. I live not that far from Skid Row. These numbers, I feel like way higher than this. Keep it real. The current count is closer to 42,000 homeless residents with 28,000 unsheltered. Now they say 28,000. I think it's more like 60,000. Keep it real with you. Property Triple H has built units, but slowly and at an eye-popping cost. The city says that 33,000 or 3,357 units have been built, and the most recent audit found that the average cost was 600,000. Let's just say 600,000 for units under construction. More than a medium sale price of a home in Denver. Some units under construction have cost more than 700,000 to build. Karen Bass and Rick Caruso, the candidates vying to replace Garcetti, don't tend to agree on much, but they agree that Triple H hasn't lived up to its promise. Quote, to spend that kind of money per unit makes no basic common sense if you know anything about building, unquote, Caruso told me. Bass wasn't much kinder. Quote, if I'm elected as mayor, I want to go and deal with homelessness like it's a hurricane, she said. I want to say, in ordinary times, we have all these requirements, but this is a hurricane. We need to get people off the streets immediately. A lot of the rules and regulations that are in ordinary times need to be relaxed, unquote. Some nice Hermes pens. I had to give my wife some of those. Anyways, but basically it goes on and on and on and on. But it's basically showing how that homelessness in my state has been ridiculous. It's basically this bill, this proposition, Triple H, was basically for people, homeowners here in Los Angeles. They were the ones that were footing the bill to pay for homeless people to get their own apartments. Now, if you would have asked me about how I felt about this 6 years ago, I'd be like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to be really honest with you. And this ain't trying to sound heartless or anything. This is just me giving you the news. The astronomical homelessness in California, particularly Los Angeles, and y'all know I'm from the Bay. So when I went back home to the Bay, when I go back to Frisco, when I go back to Oakland, and I see these encampments, like literally, you can't even walk down the street without seeing egregious shit. And I'm going to tell y'all this, and I'm only saying this because I don't want to sound heartless. I have a different view of homelessness than I had before I moved to downtown Los Angeles. Me and my wife moved over here into our loft in 2019. And the way I looked at homelessness before this was I was very sympathetic. I felt empathy for these people, but a lot of these people do egregious shit. I have seen more homeless. I've seen more homeless men with their dick and their asses out in broad daylight than any other time in my life. I ain't never seen no shit like this. I literally will try to walk to Starbucks right around the corner from my house, and I gotta duck and dodge human shit. Not pet shit, human shit. I can't walk on certain parts of the street because there is tents and 17 different just things that are just blocking the street. Okay? Imagine if you have a kid and you just want to take your daughter for a walk down the street. You can't do it. You can't fucking do it. Can't do it. It's disgusting. So the astronomical homelessness that I've seen, especially since after 2020, literally right across the street from my apartment, there used to be 30 tents across the street from my apartment. So we couldn't even walk on that side of the street. They cleaned all that shit up. But I'm telling you this, if you have never been to California, you have no clue how bad it is, the homeless problem. I know they said, oh, it's only 28,000 people unsheltered. That's bullshit. I can tell you in downtown Los Angeles alone, there's probably more close to 40 to 50,000 people unsheltered. You know what I mean? So, and you know what? It's not the property owners of Los Angeles. It's not their responsibility to try to take care of somebody who lives on the street. It ain't my responsibility. You dig? I've learned something. Over the last 4 years, I'm not as liberal as I thought I was. I'm conservative as fuck. I'm a pure fucking capitalist. And the astronomical homelessness of, oh, we need to take care of these people. We need to take care of these people. It's gotten it's gotten my state in such a bind that it's astronomically expensive here, but yet you want me to take care of people that live on the street who they might not have had the same options or things that I had. But I'm gonna tell you this: the majority of people that are homeless in Los Angeles, the majority of people that are homeless in California, over 50%, are not even from here. Most of these motherfuckers come out here California dreaming. That's why I call it California scheming. California dreaming. They heard a song. It's paved like gold out there. I'm gonna go be a rapper or a singer, or if you're in the Bay, a software engineer, and I'm gonna get my tech thing popping. And you get out here and you realize LA don't give a fuck about you. Frisco don't give a fuck about you. Oakland don't give a fuck about you. San Diego don't give a fuck about you. The rent is due every motherfucking first, nigga. It's the first of the month now. And I got tenants right now that might be getting evicted if I don't get my motherfucking rent money. You did? I'm a capitalist. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. You feel me? Straight up. I shouldn't have to be foot the bill for somebody who had bad circumstances. It's not my responsibility to make sure that you're not homeless, because I'm gonna keep real with you. When I was broke as fuck 5 years ago, and me and my wife was living in that shitty ass apartment in Koreatown that was egregious. And not even gonna go into details. Didn't nobody give a fuck but my family, my mama, my dad, my wife's mama. But nigga, had we been homeless, would anybody have cared? No. You gotta figure this shit out, man. You gotta figure this shit out. Straight up. So, but yeah, I'm telling you, the astronomical homelessness has been one of the things that has caused Los Angeles and the Bay and California to be fucked up. Okay. Now, let's do a history lesson. Now, a lot of y'all don't know. California was once a Republican-leaning swing state in presidential elections from 1952 until 1992. So from 52 to 92, 40 years, this was a Republican red swinging state. During this period, the Republicans won California in every election except election of 64. Okay. And Ronald Reagan is actually from Pasadena. So I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing. But since then, however, the Democrats have carried the electoral rich state since 92. And you know why? Immigration. Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, and the migration of Northern liberals who tend to vote Democrat shifted the balance in favor of the Democratic Party. So that was 30 years ago, 92. Immigration bringing in more Asians and Mexicans swung my state to be more liberal. Now, California used to be a world power. I don't think it is anymore. Honestly, I don't. But, you know, the reason I'm doing this is because a lot of people don't quite understand that liberalism ain't a good thing. It's not. And like I told you, over the course of the last 3 years, I've really recognized that I am a conservative man. I've never voted Republican, but my ideals are very conservative. So this was in thehill.com. This came out about a month ago. Newsom signs a bill to make California a refuge for transgender youth and families. Now, this is my second point. My second point is this. Alternative families have more rights over nuclear families. Alternative families have more rights than nuclear families. Now, this is something I call the Obama effect. Ever since Obama kicked off, things got very alphabet mafia. Now, if that's your community, that's cool, that is whatever, but that ain't my community at all. It's not. I'm a nuclear family guy. Wife, man, woman, child. None of this cisgender, any of that type of shit. I'm not with none of that. None of that. We seen what Black Lives Matter did. It was the Trojan horse for the gay agenda. Let's just call it what it is. So, let's get into it. So, this is the second point. Alternative families have more rights than nuclear families. Let's read the article. All right. California Governor Gavin Newsom, Democrat, on Thursday signed into law a bill to safeguard transgender minor and their families from out-of-state legal action if they travel to California to receive gender-affirming health care. Okay? So this law is going to go into effect in 2 months. So California, okay. The measure effective January 1st is designed to shield families with transgender youth under 18 from being criminally prosecuted if they travel to California to obtain gender-affirming health care for their children from states where treatments like puberty blockers and hormones have been decreed as child abuse by elected officials. So basically, if you have a 10-year-old and your 10-year-old has been telling you, Daddy, a 10-year-old little boy, I don't feel like a little boy anymore. I want to be her or she or her. You can be like, oh, okay. You can be an irresponsible parent because kids change their minds all the time and say, you know what? Let's get you on some puberty blockers as a little boy and transition you into a little girl. Okay? States across the country are passing laws to demonize, that's a hell of a word, ain't it? Demonize the transgender community, especially transgender youth and their families. Newsom wrote Thursday in a signing statement. In California, we believe equality and acceptance. We believe that no one should be prosecuted or persecuted for getting the care they need, including gender-affirming care, Newsom wrote. Parents know what's best for their kids, and they should be able to make decisions around their health of their children without fear. So, let's see. Alabama became the first state in the nation to enact a felony ban on providing gender-affirming medical care to a minor. Why? Man, look. Why is this even a fucking thing? Why is this a thing? Why are you, as a parent, thinking it's a good idea to transition a little kid? Because let's look at the media. A lot of these cartoons now, they got some non-binary shit going on. It's a lot of alphabet shit going on. You gotta understand something. This country used to be God in the country, right? They said it was, oh no, this is a secular country. You have to separate church from state. That was bullshit. This country was very much nuclear family. Man, woman, child. And that's honestly when this country was at its strongest. This country is weak as fuck right now. Weak as fuck. The meek have inherited the earth. California, I love my home state, but this motherfucker has become a cesspool of liberalism. Liberal toxicity at its ugliest. The liberal toxicity has contributed to the astronomical homelessness, to where they feel like, you know what, we're going to continue to raise these rates and make shit expensive. And when people can't afford to come to California, we're going to allow them to come to California and they can just live on the street. And you know what? All the homeowners, people like me who own property, you're going to foot the bill. I need to foot the bill for somebody who came here from another fucking state, 9 times out of 10, and now they're homeless because they came here irresponsibly, and they came out here on some California dreaming shit. I'm going to be a rapper, a singer, a model, or whatever, and it didn't work out for them. But I'm supposed to pay for that. Or I'm supposed to pay for Billy Joe and his fucking son that's 9 years old coming here from Alabama to get some hormone blockers because Billy Joel wants to let his son transition into a little girl. California has become the cesspool, the Mad Max, the rest haven for liberal bullshit. I'm tired of my state allowing the worst of people to come here. The worst. We need to go back to being Republican. Real shit. That's my 2 cents. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Peace and love.